Hey everybody, I'm Isaac Anderson here with Studio 67, and I'm here with Mr. Edwin Parassian. He is part of the musical group Pacific Meantime. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Hello, everybody. How you doing?
We're all doing great, and especially now that we're talking to you. Real quick before we kind of get into the Pacific Meantime kind of meat and potatoes of this, I was just curious, like you as an artist, what got you started in the music?
Well, I was kind of just stricken by music from the get-go. Ever since I was a little kid, I remember looking at National Geographic pictures and seeing kids playing trumpet and telling my mom I want to do that. So I just kind of wanted to play anything I possibly could. The first opportunity came up for me in I think first grade to take violin, and I did that for a couple of years. I actually didn't really like it at all. I hated it. It was really just kind of routine. A lot of just like the Suzuki method, which is not very creative in it. So, I mean, it was fun to play an instrument, but it wasn't really what I was looking for. And then when I got a little bit older, when I was about 12 or 13, my mom had an old acoustic guitar in the closet, and it just had like 2 or 3 strings on it. And I just sort of picked it up out of the closet and started kind of messing around on it and trying to pick out songs I would hear on the radio. And from that point on, I was kind of just smitten with that. And, I saved up money with a paper route and got my first guitar. And then, in junior high and high school, started forming bands. And it's kind of been my favorite thing to do ever since then.
Cool, cool, man. Do you remember the first song that you learned?
I
It's a
actually
tough one, I
do.
know, but
I know. I actually do, and it's really obscure. You're not gonna know it. It's by this guy Dwight Twilley. It's called "Girls." It it was a one hit wonder. Like nobody knows the song, but it had this riff that just went. And so those low 3 strings were on this piece of crap acoustic guitar that my mom had, and I kind of just figured that little riff out, and I was like, okay, I can hear what's going on. Let's get some more strings on this thing.
yeah, well, more strings definitely help. But I mean, hey, I guess that kind of the three string method, influenced what you're doing now as far as kind of like all these crazy little, things in the music and whatnot. Yeah, we were listening to a little bit of your music earlier, man. It's really got some awesome like kind of riffs just like that. I can hear the influence of that riff in the music that you play.
Yeah, that's a pretty astute observation. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like a serious technical player. Never have been. Never really wanted to be. And I've always done a lot with a little in terms of like just strings or just a couple notes and stuff. I mean, so your question was, what was my first song I learned?
Yeah.
That's the truthful answer. The much cooler answer, not like the exact first thing, but when REM's Reckoning came out in I think it was '85, I was like 13 or 14. That album, I learned every single song on that album, and I often credit that as like that album taught me how to play guitar. And Peter Buck plays with a lot of that same stuff, like like 2 string kind of riffs and one string playing off the other. So yeah, I mean that's kind of that sort of thing has been with me the whole time.
Sweet. Personally, what is like one of your favorite earlier projects before Pacific Meantime kind of became a thing?
Well, we all got together. Well, not everybody in the band, but Hamilton and I, the singer and I, we met down in New Orleans where we went to college at Tulane University, and we joined a band together. Also, that included my wife, who wasn't my wife at the time, but she played flute in this band, and a bunch of other friends. And this was our Tulane band. It was called Geraldine Fisher, and it was a world away from what you're hearing with Pacific Meantime. Like we kind of were almost prog rock, I guess, in a way. Like our songs tended to be fairly long, like 6 to 10 minutes, and they had lots of sections and time signature changes. Now that kind of music isn't really at all what I'm really interested in creating or even listening to anymore. But it was so fun. I mean, we were 20 years old in college in New Orleans, having the time of our lives, and we formed lifelong friendships and bonds from that. We all moved from New Orleans to Portland together in 1994. Got out, came out west in a big old Ryder truck with a bunch of dogs and cats and girlfriends and stuff. And so yeah, I mean that's one of my favorite projects. And we still get together from time to time because we all live in Portland.
Oh, sweet.
In October we're gonna get together and make a record just for fun.
Oh, dude, so a nice little reunion then.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, dude. When you said a flute player, that's something you don't see a whole lot in bands. I wish I could have seen that. You gotta hit us
don't
up.
See that at all. My wife Monica is an incredible flute player. She's a virtuoso flute player. She hardly even touches it anymore. She's right now. She works as a midwife now. She's super busy with her career and all that. Super musical person, but yeah, she doesn't play so much anymore. But the music that we had was perfect for somebody to, it was jam band music essentially, like with long instrumental sections. So it was perfect for her to just tear up some flute riffs.
That sounds like super awesome. You should be proud of that one. But yeah, going into what you're doing now with the Pacific Meantime, like what was the process of that becoming a thing? Because reading up a little bit about you for this interview, it seems like it was kind of it was a whole kind of process, and it was it wasn't just kind of like woke up one day and it happened. It was more like a series of things that kind of came together to become this thing. But can you elaborate? Like how did it come about?
Yeah, totally. Well, so it all came about out of another band, again with Hamilton, that we had been playing in around Portland since I think about 2006. It was called Little Beirut, and that was like a lot more guitar driven, like crunchy guitars. We got compared to Nada Surf sometimes. So sort of a power pop type of thing, and we had a lot of fun with that. But as we put out 3 albums under Little Beirut, and each time I was in my head, I was hearing something different. I was wanting to explore some new textures, and we've always been interested in the electronic elements, whether it's electronic drums or keyboards or whatever. And so we were kind of adding little bits of these textures here and there, and kind of trying to just sort of evolve the sound. But for one reason or another, it seemed like over the course of 3 records, we didn't really get there. Like they all sound not exactly the same. The songs are different, but it's all still power pop. So each time we'd finish an album, for a minute I'd think, okay, hey, we're really trying some new textures, cool new sounds, new production techniques. But sort of when the dust settled, it'd be like, well, maybe not so much. It's kind of just the same thing. So when we started recording our what would have been our 4th Little Beirut album, we started working with a producer for the first time, and we told him that about what we were trying to achieve here, and that ended up being a really huge experience. Like he really got what we were going for, and a lot of things sort of changed in the process of recording that record. So we changed drummers, and a new bass player came on. So we realized, and the songs did evolve, and we used lots more of these new textures we were looking for, and it was less of it definitely became, so this was what resulted in the 2014, the Pacific Meantime debut, self-titled record. And it was definitely not power pop anymore. So we didn't actually go into that record saying, hey, let's become a new band, but sort of halfway through the record, we realized that was what would happen. So that's why we changed the name and became Pacific.
inside we knew. Find out some part of your kids. Oh, a similar human form. Can we both be right? Whatever trip you're hanging from your kite, till the satellite is gone. Fade away into, fade away into your love. I can wait all day. I can wait until you're done. Fade away into your love. Fade away into our love. Tomorrow, say today. Tomorrow's just a ruse. The future's never over, baby.
As far as this, the new album that you guys have come out with, the song that really stuck out to me was "Sentimental Strangers." That song. Did the recording process that you were just talking about kind of carry over into the second album, or was it any different? Like, what was the process of kind of making those songs, specifically that "Sentimental Strangers" song?
Well, definitely. Yes, it did carry over. So that song. So we had, we gigged the debut record for a couple of years, but we were running into a situation where we were finding that because of playing shows, we want to practice once or twice before a show just to stay tight. We weren't getting any solid time to write music, so we stopped gigging about 2 years ago, like early 2016, and then just started writing a lot of stuff. And I was unemployed at the time, and so I kind of just holed up here in my little studio here. This space here is where we do a lot of the recording.
Not a bad place to work, man.
Yeah, it's my basement, but it's I got it all rigged up the way I like it. But I just made a bunch of demos, just usually with a drum machine and a guitar or maybe a keyboard or whatever. And so I had a lot of things sort of in some state or another. And actually, Sentimental Strangers, one of the very first demos from when I first started writing for this record. And it was sort of that bass line, that that driving bass line, and then as far as like the chorus that came from actually another song. So we sort of kind of took two ideas and stuck them together, and had like an outline of the song as an instrumental, and then totally the only difference, we didn't quite literally do the bounce pass procedure that I just explained to you, not live and in person, but what we did, we all have Ableton setups at home. So Hamilton went home, he took my demo, set up in Ableton, and recorded 4 or 5 tracks of him just riffing his vocals, and then I took that back here and I chopped them up, moved things around, and crafted the melodies for that.
Very, very nice. Like when I heard it on a personal level, just like those synths were kind of like they were kind of almost like chasing along with the rhythm, almost kind of like you were chasing after like someone like in an emotional sense. I don't know if that's what you kind of intended there, but like that's what I felt when I heard the music.
I like that, man. Yeah, and and our producer, engineer, mixing guy Ryan really got the song too. And like and when that chorus comes in, it just sort of lifts up, and the volume goes up, and yeah, and the synths are really present in there.
It's very, very nice.
We're so happy with the way it came out. I mean, it almost sounds like a dance song in a way. And one thing that like a lot of comments I've gotten, a lot of people asking about the production, record, and all that. A lot of people are surprised to know that the drums are exclusively live drums. Some of the ways we recorded them, some of the production techniques, and also our mixer Ryan Lewis's prowess as a mixer. He was able to get the drums sounding almost kind of robotic and computery, which something that we're attracted to. But they're all played live.
I see. I got that sense. I was going to ask you about that because I've seen you guys' Instagram. I've seen like live drum sets, and when I hear the record, it almost sounded kind of like you use like an MPC at some parts. But like when I hear it, it's almost like it's humanized a little bit more than I hear a lot of electronic music because all the chopping and the quantization. Sometimes you kind of lose a sense of realness. But like the album that you guys came out with, it definitely has kind of a sense of like kind of power and like just kind of organic kind of fluidity to it that I think really kind of grounds that album. I think it's really awesome.
Kicking the pressure, still crashing inside. It's not forever. Hell only what's mine.
before we go, where can people find you on social media? Like, where can people listen to your music? Where can people kind of find out what you're going to be doing next?
Well, we're on Instagram. Just search Pacific Mean Time in Instagram. Three separate words. There's nothing else there. We're on Facebook. Same thing. Got a website. Not a whole lot going on that at the moment. We're kind of beating that up a bit. And then so I would just say Instagram and Facebook, and we're going to start working on a video sometime soon, which will definitely send out to you guys. And then as far as listening, we're available on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon, all that kind of stuff as well.
Sweet. Edwin, thank you so much for talking to me. Everyone that's listening, I would highly encourage you to go listen to Pacific Mean Time's new album. It's a really good testament to kind of storytelling through music, really awesome production, mixing, and just generally good songwriting. I would highly recommend it. But Edwin, thank you so much for what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing, guys, and we'll see you later.
Isaac, thank you so much, and thanks for the spins on the radio. We really appreciate it, man.
No problem. Anytime, man.
All right, take care.